Hola, gringas y gringos. Welcome to
Gringos are us, expats with a plan. This week we're going to talk about what we did for our insurance when we got our South Dakota plates on the car. It's coming up after this.
Welcome back. We are so happy that you chose to spend your time with us today as we talk about how we're covering our vehicle with automobile insurance in the United States when we're not in the United States.
Well, we had to have the insurance so that we could get our license plates in the state of South Dakota. And when we first were doing this back in North Carolina, we actually were like, okay, we'll just check with our insurance agent that we've had for 20 some years and we'll be golden. Wrong.
Wrong.
The insurance agent that we used, his company is not even licensed to write insurance in the state of South Dakota.
Nope.
So we had to change all of that. And then, thanks to some of you on here, you guys pointed out that there are some companies that actually will suspend the insurance when you're out of the country.
So let me just add to that. So, like, one of the reasons we needed to see this is because we didn't want to have to be paying for double insurance.
No, we didn't want to have to be paying for insurance in the U.S.
Right.
as well as paying for insurance in Mexico. Mexico we got no problem with because the car's there.
Right.
But
Right.
paying for insurance in the U.S. for a car that's not driving in the U.S. made us go, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find a solution. And you guys came up with some great hints
Right,
on that.
because we were thinking, let's just drop it to liability. We could do that, but we still have to pay for a whole year of it. And the truth of the matter is, just about every state in this country requires that you maintain liability insurance.
Yeah, with the exception of New Hampshire, you got to have your insurance.
Right.
And so...
Or
Or...
they, cancel your tags,
Yep.
send you big money fines.
Yep.
And the other thing that we ran into is, we know if your insurance lapses
Yeah.
and you need to come back into the United States and you need insurance, you're now considered high risk.
And now you got to pay
Higher
more.
rates.
So you think you're saving, but you're actually not, because you're going to end up paying more because your rates go up. So in doing this, we started almost at a last minute looking around going, okay, we don't have a whole lot of time. We knew what we were looking for, and we actually found a State Farm agent up in Sioux Falls. And when we asked the question of them that once the car leaves the United States and is going to be in Mexico for an extended period of time, they were like, no problem. You can pause it for up to 5 months out of the 6-month period.
Right. Because
So-
they issue 6-month policies.
Right.
So-
And so all we basically have to do is, instead of paying 12 premiums, we only have to pay 2
Per year
per year.
to keep it.
Yes, to
Active.
keep it active.
And then when we return to the United States,
we just have to let them know the date that we'll be returning, and then it's reinstated back on. And of course, when it's reinstated back on, so are the premiums. But that's insurance. You got to pay for it. Nothing comes free. Everything's gonna have to have a price.
So some points to stress right here is, if you're going to permanently live in Mexico, none of this applies to you, because you are not going to be having a need for United States insurance.
Because you're gonna have Mexican plated cars.
Right. If you are a tourist, it probably still may not apply to you, but you would be paying for your insurance while you're in Mexico anyway, unless you have a policy that permits you to put it in suspension. So
Yes.
this is really just geared toward temporary residents who do not want to give up their U.S. plated vehicle. Sorry, I don't know the details.
Like us.
We don't know the details about Canada, so we apologize. But So you're a temporary resident of Mexico. You don't want to give up your U.S. plated car. You're going to be driving in Mexico with the intention of probably occasionally coming back into the United States for various reasons: visits, funerals, weddings, graduations, etc.
The fun stuff.
Yes.
Well, most of that's fun.
So the situation is you want to maintain a USAA insurance policy so that you are not lapsed and are not coming back to a high risk premium.
Correct.
And you want to be able to not have to pay all the time when you're not using it.
Yes. When you're basically buying air, which a lot of us
Right.
view insurance as we're buying air anyway, but you're really buying air when you're not even in the country. So there's no chance of them ever paying out because you got Mexican insurance to cover you when you're in Mexico.
Yeah.
So that's really giving away the money. Just a disclaimer. I'm not Doug, and Limu is not running around the house, and she's not Flo.
I'm not Flo.
So we are by no means any way, shape, or form insurance experts. We're just giving you what we found.
And what we found, honestly, came from direction of viewers like you.
Yes. And in doing the research, so far we have found 3 that are readily stepping up saying that they will do pauses of the insurance. And those 3 were the State Farm, USAA, which they're used to doing it because of active members that are deployed, but not sure exactly how that works if you are no longer active, which obviously if you're going to move to Mexico, you're not going to be active anymore. And the third one was Progressive. So those 3 we found online that said that they do offer some form of suspension.
And there are policies out there by companies that are called temporary insurance. We know nothing about those. So
Nada.
Disclaimer number 2, we know nothing about temporary insurance policies.
That would be correct. Not a thing.
We can't recommend them. We can't speak to them.
Can't say they're good. Can't say they're bad.
Right.
Just can't say. No use of that whatsoever. Now, just a little bit of a hint here. We have started looking for the Mexican car insurance because it's hard to believe, but 1 month from today, we are pulling out of here and heading south.
Yoo-hoo!
Unless we have to go to McAllen and do our appointment in McAllen. And if that's the case, it would be delayed by, I think,
Like a week,
4 days.
maybe.
4 or 5 days. So we're getting really close. So we started looking this morning, doing some research. And of course, the first place we always look when we're looking for anything like this
Ding, 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 ding.
is Mariana's Mexico Relocation Guide. She has a list of brokers that are there that you can get information regarding insurance brokers that cover everything from if you just want to do your car, if you're also looking to do your health insurance and your car, or if you're going to be renting a place for a year, you can get rental, you can get car insurance, and you can get your health insurance. So all of those are available. See above.
Yes, I'm going to be scrolling when this video is done being edited. I'm going to be scrolling just the section alone that is in the relocation guide, the menu for driving in Mexico. You just all the topics. I'm going to scroll it right now. Look at all these topics that are in the Mexico Relocation Guide when you purchase the guide. You know, we are obviously customers now. We've been using it for a while, and this is why. This is why, because not only does she have all this covered in each of these topics, but she has a list of vetted and recommended brokers that we know we can trust. So obviously that takes a lot of heat off of us to try to figure out what to do and who to call and who can we trust.
And the other part of it is there's basically step-by-step instructions. When you hit the border, you need to A, before you hit the border, you got to have these set of
Yeah.
paperwork. You got to have this many copies of the car title. You have to have your insurance in place. You need to have done your tip in advance online to facilitate a smooth transfer, so that you're not having to wait hours to get the tip in person, and you can just
She
shoot
makes
your way
the
right through.
process. She makes it
Yes.
so easy to follow. This is why we really recommend we became affiliate of the Mexico Relocation Guide. So if you use our affiliate link, we get a little bump from it, but we really do recommend it. We've
Yes.
been using it. We would not recommend it unless we knew that it was of good value. And what she also will do sometimes is she will provide videos on her channel with insurance brokers.
Yes, she's done that several times.
Yes, and sometimes you can only get to those videos if you're a member.
True.
So there are members' benefits to videos like that, where you could do Q&A with brokers and other people of interest about your transition into Mexico. So we really do recommend Mexico Relocation Guide.
Ain't no moss growing on Mariana. She's always got things going on and
Yeah.
staying on top of things.
So we're happy that we got a list of brokers we can choose from now, and we need to get rolling on that pretty soon here, because that has to be in place. Mexican insurance must be in place for your automobile.
Before you enter
Yep.
Mexico.
But back off that, because we're still learning this process. We're back to the USA insurance.
Well, all we basically did, we were hoping that we were going to have time, that I was going, when we were in South Dakota and Sioux Falls there, that I was going to be able to get Gina back to work, and I was going to go down and talk to the insurance agent
In person.
and maybe see if I could get a little bit of an interview with him to help
Right.
with this. But if anybody saw the episode about we tried to become South Dakota residents and all that we went through, you can see why that didn't occur.
There's not enough coffee in the world to take care of the stress of that trip.
Yeah, that just wasn't going to occur.
If you are getting helpful information from our videos, or just enjoy watching the two of us ramble on,
We're good at doing the rambling part.
please like, subscribe to our channel, spread it around to your friends,
Remember, ring the bell so that you always get notified when new content drops.
and leave us a comment. Ask us questions or remark in any way you see fit.
So all we were able to do, and realistically, it was very simple to sign up with them. Provided them the insurance, with the VIN number, the plate number, and then we just had to update it when we got the South Dakota plate, so that they now know, that, oh yeah, here's the VIN, here's the new plate number,
Right.
and we're covered.
Yeah, I mean, I made the call initially. Well, actually, I asked for information, and they called me. So, how insurance companies typically work is that you've got an office, and the office is owned by the head broker agent, and they have got sub-agents that work for them. Well, one of the sub-agents called me, and I gave him all the information. Now, initially, he was not familiar with the ability to do this.
No.
And I just said that we were recommended by another State Farm customer, and that this is a process that is in place for these people. And he went back and spoke to the head agent / owner.
The agency
Right.
owner. Yep.
And that man was familiar with this. It does happen from time to time, and particularly in South Dakota, where a lot of people do exactly what we're doing, establishing residency so they can be on the road. So yes, the head agent / owner was familiar with it. This sub-agent called me back, said, yep, this is how it works, but you can't have it active while you're in Mexico. I'm like, oh no, we know that.
No. They want to make sure that they knew that they weren't covering us south of the border.
Right.
Second that car crossed the border, they were, hands off. If you have a wreck, don't call us.
And one of the key phrases he asked me is, where will the car be garaged while you're in Mexico? Well, I said, right now, I said, it's going to be garaged in Mexico with us. I said, because we don't have a permanent address in the United States anymore. We moved and we came to South Dakota specifically to become state residents so that we could be travelers, and we completed a traveler's affidavit at the DMV.
Correct.
And I said, we do have a mail forwarding service with an accepted DMV address. And so then that was really all he needed to know. And we were done.
Yeah, they were good to go.
Yeah.
All they want is money. Pay them, and they were like, okay, let's get this thing. You're now covered. You're good to go.
Right.
So it really, I guess the best advice we can give you is contact. In each state, everything's going to be different.
Yes.
If you are thinking of moving on paper to a
Texas
state,
or something.
Texas,
Yeah.
one of the states that gives you the ability to minimize your tax exposure. And if you're looking for one of the ones that's also not going to require you to drive the car back every year to get it inspected,
Yes.
which is why we chose South Dakota, because we get no taxes and we don't have to go back and take the car every year. So, but you need to check with whatever state you're going to put your remaining address in the U.S. at. You need to check with the state, with your insurance agent in that state, and find out what the requirements are, whether they even are able to offer a suspension. Mm-hmm. Some do, some don't. And in going through this, what we did find was that the insurance company doesn't want to put a whole lot of information out on the web that is definitive. They want to talk to you. Mm-hmm. Part of it I get, because part of it is so much of an each case-by-case basis,
right,
as to what they're able to do, what they will do, what they won't do. The other part is they want to talk to you because they got a feeling that if they can get you on the phone, they got a better shot at being able to close the deal. Being in sales for as long as I was, I understand that. Let me talk to somebody. I got a good shot that they're going to get, I'm going to get them to do what I want them to do. What we're trying to tell you is, if you're going to stay, let's just choose a state. If you're going to stay in Colorado, you need to talk to the agents in Colorado, mm-hmm, and go, okay, here's what I'm, outline the plan. This is what we're looking to do. Is this a possibility? Now, they're going to say yes, no, I don't know, and give it a run from there. And then after that, then you can make up your mind, okay, is it worth doing a run every year to go back to get my car inspected? And that's a long drive, unless you're going to be close to the border. It can be a haul, but you just got to check with each state and figure out what's going to work for you, right, where you're at, and then from there you can make the determination. Okay, do we need to become nomads and do this in a digital manner and take advantage? And is that going to make our life easier?
And you just call them up. Just call them up and speak to them. If you find that you're running into brick walls, again, we were recommended State Farm.
Yeah.
I haven't been a State Farm customer since like the late 80s, early 90s, and this was a seamless transition. They were able to totally do what we needed them to do. Right now we're on a month-to-month policy as far as the payment goes. Well, it's a 6-month policy, but the payment is monthly. And as soon as we leave for Mexico, I just call them and say, okay, please suspend. And it will suspend for the rest of that policy.
Yep. Or until we return back to the States.
Well, it's going to suspend for the rest of that policy, at least for now, because the policy is only good for 6 months.
I get that. But if for some reason we were to come back to the States,
yeah,
something were to happen.
Then we call them up.
Then we call them up and say, we're going to be entering the States, and they turn it right back on.
So what happens is when this 6-month policy is up and it's time to renew a new policy,
paying the first month's premium.
Yeah, first month's premium is paid, back on hold.
It's still in Mexico. Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to you in 6 months.
Yeah.
No problem.
And back to the USAA, which was also a recommendation. I tried my best to find anywhere in a USA policy information whether we could do this and not be active duty. And I could not.
My sister and brother-in-law are staunch USAA customers because he's retired lieutenant colonel and they traveled the world, and my sister was quick to be able to go, Well, yeah, they did it for us when we were abroad,
Right.
but we were
Active.
we were active duty and we were overseas. And
Right.
she goes, I don't have a clue as to how that would work. You know, because I thought her first initial comment was she thought it was only going to be available to active duty members who are deployed.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
That makes sense.
she's not Flo.
She's not Flo.
Yeah.
So shop around.
Yeah, and ask.
Ask questions.
I know this is sometimes weird, but if they say they can't, ask them if they know who can.
Yeah. Hey, insurance brokers, they know their own company and others.
Yeah.
They're familiar.
I mean, they may know of a company in the state that does offer the service, or they may go under state statute. This is not something that is, possible in state
Whatever state.
XYZ. So all we want to do is give you guys the information that we knew.
Hope you find that helpful.
And we appreciate all the great comments you guys have gone. You've shown us a lot of love this past week because we were just running a little bit behind and everything else. And y'all were phenomenal as usual.
Yeah.
In just going, chill. It's all good. So we appreciate that. And you guys have no idea as to how important you guys have become to us.
I was actually very, very humbled and just surprised and touched that not only were you guys cool with it, but you actually respect us. Like, I don't mean like in a bad, I don't mean like just, you respect, what's the word I'm looking for?
I do not know.
What are you
Ow.
doing? Pull it
I'm
out
trying
of
to pull it out of your head.
I don't mean that you respect us, but you really do have faith in us. That you trust us. I think that's what it is. That you trust us, that we're authentic, and we're trying to give you honest information. That's nice. It's nice to know that people believe in you. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Did that come out right?
I don't know. I'm sure they're going to let us know whether or not that did or that didn't. But
Oh my, I'm just having a brain fried moment because if you guys only knew. Here's the short version. I'm in the middle of a project installing 13 chemistry analyzers across an entire health system, interfaces, reference ranges. You ever go and get a comprehensive metabolic panel, for example? Every single one of the tests in that panel, I have to build the reference ranges, the critical value ranges, the highs, the lows, any documented comments that have to go into a medical report, all of this stuff. It has to be aliased so that it talks to the interface, so that the stuff will run from the computer to the analyzer to the computer. Look, it's a lot of work, right? And there's 13 of them. And my team used to have 11 people on it 3 years ago. And right now there are 2. I have been putting about 45 to 50-hour weeks in. And yeah, I'm just a little frazzled and I can't wait till this is done and I am ready for Mexico.
we honestly do feel bad for the one remaining when she leaves in a month because it's gonna be not pretty.
It's already, but anyway, yeah, there you go.
That's the short version, and cannot wait till that is in the rearview mirror.
Yes.
So we want to thank you guys again for tuning in this week.
We are
Gringos Are Us.
Expats with a Plan. We are doing it. You can too. Hasta la próxima vez.
Adios.